Welcome to Violin Stars. In this lesson, I'm going to give you a few exercises to help with your bow hold. It's pretty common in the beginning for beginners to have some troubles with their bow hold as you're developing it. And right now I have a student who's struggling a little bit with her pinky. She's having problems with her pinky going straight like this as she plays, and we want to keep the pinky bent like this. Because when it gets straightened out like that, it means you usually have a lot of tension in your hand, and that makes your hand get sore as you're playing, and you're just not able to play as fluidly. And also what can happen when you keep the pinky really straight and stretched out like this is it can fall off the bow sometimes as you're playing, and then sometimes your whole bow will just come off the strings, and we don't want that to happen. I actually struggled with that a little bit myself way back when I was a beginner. I had that same problem. My pinky would go straight, and eventually my bow would just fall off the strings, or my pinky would fall off the stick, and then it would make my bow go sliding off. So I'm going to give you a couple exercises. This video is actually mostly for her to help, but it's a common problem, so I thought that the tips would be useful for everybody. So I'm going to make this video so you all can see it and hopefully benefit from it. So the first exercise that I'm going to have you do is put your violin up, set your bow on the A string, any string will work, and just practice tapping your pinky like that. If you can tap it, it's probably curved and not straightened out, because then it's really hard to tap it if you get it straight. So keep it curved and tap it. And then after you've practiced that, see if you can bend all of your fingers like this. So your bow stays on the strings, and you just bend your fingers and straighten your fingers. So there's straight, bent, straight, bent, and then just keep doing that. And once you've got the feel for that, that really loosens up your hand as you do this. Takes out any tension so your fingers can bend. Then I want you to actually go ahead and play and keep that motion going. It won't sound real good, but it'll be really good for keeping your bow hold real loose. So let's try playing that on the A string. Keep your fingers moving. Okay, so it doesn't sound good. It's not something that we're ever going to do when we're actually playing music. You know, well, actually, when you start going real fast and you're playing real fast, your fingers will move to a certain degree, but we're really exaggerating it right now. You know, when you're trying to learn something, you usually have to really exaggerate it, and it doesn't usually sound good. You know, when you're just bowing normally, there won't be that much movement in your fingers. So I'm not telling you to play like this all the time. Please don't misunderstand me, because I know some people do. But I just want you to do this as a practice exercise to keep your hand loose. If you tend to have a trouble with your hand getting really stiff and your pinky going straight, this keeps your pinky constantly relaxed. It doesn't sound very good, but it's a good exercise just to practice a couple minutes. You can do it on all 4 strings if you want. And I think that will really help a lot if you're having troubles with any of your fingers getting kind of stiff. You know, it can be a problem with your thumb, your pinky. The other fingers sometimes want to crawl up on the stick like this. This is a common problem for a lot of beginners. You don't want that either. You want them to stay over the stick and have this nice movement in your fingers. So I have one other exercise. If you have troubles with your pinky wanting to go real straight like this is really common for beginners. So you might want to examine your bow hold and make sure you don't have this problem. If you do, I have another exercise that you can do. Well, and you can actually do this with a lot of your playing. Just go ahead and practice this way a lot, and it'll help you fix that bad habit. Just go ahead and bend your pinky and put it behind the stick. Can you see now where my nail is not up there? I've put it behind the stick, so it's behind my other fingers. It's still in the place where it should be, but it's not up here on the stick. I put it right behind. I'll see if maybe I can show this a little bit. Can you see where my pinky is behind the stick here. So you're kind of pushing your nail against the back side of the stick like this. It looks kind of weird, but this is a really useful way to practice because it keeps your pinky bent. Can you see that? Again, this is not something you want to do all the time and play like this way all the time because you're not getting to use the weight of your pinky to balance the bow. The pinky helps balance your bow and even out the weight, so if you have it behind the stick, then it's not quite so, it's kind of like you're playing with no pinky, which some people do that from time to time. But so you can go ahead and stick it behind the stick. That keeps it curved. It just helps it relax because then it's nice and relaxed back there. It's like you're kind of just taking the pinky for a ride on the bow. It's not having to do its job right now. You're just kind of helping it out, letting it go for a ride. And get the idea for what it needs to be doing. And then after you've practiced that for a while, go ahead and put it back up on the stick and see if it will maintain that nice curve. And probably what you'll find is after you've played with the pinky off the stick and just behind the stick like that, is when you put it back on the stick, it will feel easier to play because now the pinky is able to help balance the bow, balance out the weight, and hopefully it's learned how to do its job a little better and it won't turn into this. Okay? So those are just a few exercises that you can do to help loosen up some of the tension in your bow hand. You can do spider crawls, crawl up the bow. You just have to be careful when you're doing this that you don't drop the bow. That's good for developing strength in your fingers, loosening them up. So that's another one you can do. So hopefully these exercises will help you.